100 days from now, the world will change. We're back, Mike Cernovich, Cernovich.com. Thank you for noticing. Amazing hair. A lot of people don't understand that I'm a spiritual figure like Rasputin rather than a political consultant. Have you ever seen pictures of me in a suit? I look amazing. I could go clean cut, but clean cut is political consultant. It's not spiritual guide, it's spiritual leader. Anyhow, everything is going to change in a very short amount of time. And I'm going to talk through what I think is going to happen and what will probably happen and how to change. So, if I had to summarize in an elevator pitch, what do I think happens in November? If people vote Trump wins, I don't think people are going to vote. Let me say that again. If people vote Trump wins, I don't think people are going to vote. Now, some people would say, well, duh, you got to get out the vote. Hey, Sarah, please turn your TV down, okay? You knew I was going to go live. Okay, so I have to go tell Shauna or Sarah I'm going to turn the TV off. Okay, thank you. Turn it down a little, babe. Turn it down a little bit, okay? Turn it down at least five pushes, okay? No, you can watch, but you have to turn it down a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to go have to turn the TV off because she's learning. Okay, you can either turn it down a little bit or I'm going to turn it off. It's your choice. That's your choice. You can turn it down or I'm going to turn it off. Okay, so I'm about to turn the television off. You can watch me parenting. You can watch. Okay, are you going to turn the TV off? Okay. This is the. She claims that she doesn't know how to turn it down, which seems a little sus to me. All right. So that was resolved. But yeah, she's got it. I always give them a choice. That's the key. That we don't rule by fiat here. I'm not a dictator. Because you don't want to just say do it my way or the highway. We explain things. Anyway, so if people vote Trump wins, I don't. Oh, Ali, I didn't mean to counter program you, brother. But Ali's here, so he can tell me what he agrees or disagrees with. So here's what I mean: if people vote Trump wins, but I don't think people are going to vote. Remember, start from the proposition that Trump won by 90,000 votes in 3 states or 100,000-ish in 4 states, depending on how you want to count them. Regardless, Trump won by 100,000 votes. That's it. That was the election. So, as Ali would tell you, math. First principle of this stuff, math. So when you tell me Trump's going to win, oh, red wave, what is the math? Yeah. What is the math? Right? So he barely won. So then the question is, has Trump gained a real coalition? So has Trump gained a real coalition? Yes or no? Right? Has Trump gained a real coalition and gained a greater number of votes? No, he hasn't. Show me the math. If you tell me Trump has gained net voters, then tell me the math. Because a lot of people, they just watch sports and they come at me like they're a sports fan and they know something. Tell me the math. Where did the net gain of votes come from? Silent majority. That's not math. That's a slogan. Okay. So first-time gun owners. That's great. How many of them registered as a Republican? How can you show me pictures of them registered as Republican? How much money has the Trump super PAC or the Trump campaign given to Scott Presler to register first-time gun buyers at gun shops? Can you show me pictures? Because people are like, Trump campaign. Show me pictures. Show me pictures where the GOP or the Trump campaign is registering first-time gun buyers as Republican. I would like to see that. Right? I would like to see that. Haven't seen it. So Trump just doesn't have a net voter gain.
can you please stay in a row? I can't hear you when you're talking.
Okay, I'll be a little bit quiet, okay? So Trump doesn't have, yeah, Ali said it. We already missed it. It's missed opportunity. That's what, when I do these things, the Trump campaign are banned from watching me because I don't believe in casting pearls before swine. So this is not advice to the Trump campaign. In fact, I ban the Trump campaign from watching my videos. So the gun shop rush that was huge, that could have been a couple million votes. That many. Look at the data again. Look at the math. So rather than the Trump campaign pay Scott Pressler to hire some people to go out and register first-time gun buyers as Republicans, they just chose not to do that. Brad Parscale bought another yacht, apparently, though. I mean, he's doing pretty well, which is great. I don't begrudge anybody's success. But if you're getting rich off of people who I happen to know a lot of people who are not in a great financial situation give to the Trump campaign. So if you're getting rich off of people who aren't doing that well financially, then, you should be questioned, right? So that's fair enough. Now, so we know there's no net gain of voters. We know there's no net gain of voter registration. Early voting, have you been paying attention to early voting, mail-in voting? Right? How's that going? Voter fraud. Okay, that's great. If you're a nonprofit or an activist, or if you want to raise money, tell people there's going to be a lot of voter fraud. Good way to raise money. It's also a great way to suppress your voter turnout. There's a difference between being an activist on the hustle, raising money, and aspirationally getting votes out. When you tell people, that mail-in fraud.
How many times are you to be a little bit lower?
Okay, I'll be a little bit lower. Okay, now go over there. Okay, and if you tell me to be a little bit lower again, I'm going to turn off the show totally. Okay, so that'll be our negotiation. So you can either go there and figure out how to mind your own business, or I can just turn it off. It's up to you. You can make it 2 more hires. So the question then is, where's the additional votes going to come from? Not anywhere. I've had multiple people tell me that they will not mail their vote because they're so afraid of fraud. How many people have you heard that from? Right? I've heard a bunch of people say, I'm not going to mail in my vote because I think it'll be voter fraud. I hear that over and over and over and over and over again. Right? People are saying, I'm not going to mail in my vote. There's going to be fraud. They're going to steal my ballot. Well, that's a great way to suppress mail-in votes. So congratulations to the Trump campaign. You got everyone so paranoid about mail-in voters that people aren't going to mail in their ballots. And if they can't show up on election day because they're sick, they're afraid of corona, Antifa riots and shuts down streets. What's the plan for when protesters go into swing zones and then hold protests and shut down the streets so that voters can't get in there? What's your plan for that? So you got your own voters. Now that Cyrus gone, I can start going off. So you got your own voters afraid of mailing in a ballot. So you're going all in. They're going to show up. Okay, so 80-year-olds are going to show up when the left strategically sends protesters to Black Lives Matter protests, right? They're going to be Black Lives Matter. That'll be the halo, so you can't do anything. So they're going to have Black Lives Matter protests strategically sent to battleground counties, and they're going to shut down the state. Has anybody even talked about that, by the way? Has anybody even mentioned what I just told you? Right? This should be mainstream. This is how you think if you're wartime. Okay, wartime president. What's going to happen when Antifa and Black Lives Matter are strategically sent to battleground counties to block off the roads to the voters? What's the plan for that? Oh, there is no plan. Oh, wait, nobody's even talked about it. Nobody's even thought about it enough to have a plan. Ha! Right? So there's no plan for that, and Trump's voters are so paranoid. You know what? It's not my job to register voters, right? Because I don't care if Trump wins. I've said this 100 times. So go away if you can't be an adult. I believe the soul is eternal. I don't look at the timeline of, oh, Trump loses, my life is over. We have eternal souls. You need to be thinking about karma, right? So for me, I don't panic who's going to win, who's going to lose. I think my soul's eternal. Karmically, what's going to happen when I meet God? That's where I think about. So I just talk about things because they're interesting, they're relevant. And by talking about politics, which is popular, I can have more people think about their eternal soul. I can have more people think about God. I can have more people think about Christianity and Judaism and Islam. I can just have people become more spiritual. So this all, have I registered to vote? Not my job, but I don't care, honey. And by the way, Karen, go be a Karen somewhere else. So nobody's even talked about what I've talked, which is an obvious play. Black Lives Matter and Antifa strategically sent to shut down battleground counties. And then meanwhile, Trump's own voters are too paranoid to mail in their ballots. I've heard from multiple people, I'm afraid to mail in my ballot. The Democrats are going to steal my ballot. Great. Great. So you're running on thin margins. So you're now gambling. You're now gambling and going all in with the left, not just having massive riots on election day. Is anybody prepared for that, by the way? Massive election on riot days? Who does a massive riot help? Hey, Roomster. Who does a massive riot help, Trump or Biden? On election day. Roomster. Roomy, come over here. Roomy, come over here. Right? If there are riots on election day, who does that help? Right? Who does that help? Trump or Biden? Right? Come here, Roomster. What's going on, kid? Come on over here. This is Roomy Zoomy. Roomy Zoomy, she's always climbing on things. She's like the most hyperactive kid ever. So there's no, right? So if there are riots on election days that help Biden, because early voting is favoring the Democrats. So playing this out, this is how I'm so effective. What would I do if I were Democrats? If I were Democrats, I would have elderly voters afraid of mailing in ballots. And then when they go in to vote, I would have my activist groups shut down battleground counties. Biden wins. So that's why you operate from, right? That's why you operate from the proposition that Trump wins if people vote. I don't think people are going to vote. Now, somebody just said if you're a Christian, there's no way you can vote for anyone on the Dem side. That's just so dumb, dude. So you're God now. You're God. You're Jesus Christ. And you know that if you vote for any Democrat, you can't be a Christian. Go away, bro. You're the problem. You give Christians a bad name and you give Republicans a bad name, right? You're the part of the problem. So the way to look at it is, if people vote, Trump wins, people won't vote. Why would people not vote? They're afraid of voter fraud, so they won't vote. And then you have strategic riots and protests in battleground counties. And then what? Then what? Voter suppression. Boom. It's over. Biden cruises to victory. Now, by the way, isn't it interesting that when everybody was saying that Joe Biden is going to get crushed in the debates months ago, I said there's not going to be any debates. Months ago, I said there's not going to be any debates. And then now the table is being set for either no debate or some kind of weird Zoom debate that loses entirely the visual appeal of it all. Biden just has to say, well, there's coronavirus and I'm not going to debate a racist. So what's your, how does Trump win without the debate? So everybody was counting on debates. I wasn't. Yeah. The 2018 red wave people are telling me how wrong I am, as per usual. So what happens? How does Trump win if there are riots in battleground counties? Because remember, the election was so tight that you don't have to disrupt that many counties with riots and Trump loses easily, right? How many votes do you need to suppress in Michigan? 10,000? That's how Democrats are thinking. So Democrats, all they need to do is shut down one or two counties and, right, in a couple of states. That's it. Right? So what do you do? What do you do when there are riots? None. Absolutely none. So the Democrats will be able to suppress voting with riots. People aren't going to vote. Oh, the silent majority. The silent majority, what are they going to do? They're going to come out and vote when they can't get through the streets? Right? So they can't get through the streets. What are they going to do? Think this through, right? Think this through. Now, the broader question is, could if I did in 2020 what I did in 2016, would Trump win? The answer is yes. Will I do in 2020 what I did in 2016? The answer is no. So there's a way, there is a pathway to victory because I know what I would do if I wanted to. I could flip the election for Trump. I know what I would do, but it would have started 2 months ago. I would have had everybody who followed me on Twitter incentivized in a gamified way for social media clout to register voters, right? I would have led the greatest social media driven get out the vote drive that you would ever seen, and every first time gun owner would have been registered to vote. And 80% of those would vote Republican. That's what I would have done 2 months ago. Why wasn't that done? I don't know. Ask all these groups you people give your money to. Ask what they're doing with the money. So I am not going to do that. I'm not going to do it. Don't even ask me to do it. I have zero interest in any of this stuff. Now, in terms of me doing things, I don't do things for end grades. I don't do things to help people who are bad people. The Trump campaign is staffed with bad people. So I don't believe in helping bad people. So if the bad people are removed from the campaign, it would have been a different conversation. But I didn't lose friendships and millions of dollars in 2016 to elect Jared Kushner. So 4 more years of Jared or 4 more years of Biden, I don't really see it's that different, right? Right, 4 more years of Jared or 4 more years of Biden. I don't really care. You're going to get amnesty under Trump anyway. Trump said he was going to do DACA amnesty, so you're going to get because what'll happen is if Trump narrowly wins, the GOP is going to lose a couple seats. So best case, Trump wins, the GOP narrowly keeps the Senate, and I don't even think they will narrowly, and then it's a very blue House. So the very blue House is going to drum up impeachment against Trump again. And the Senate maybe will turn against Trump unless they do an amnesty deal. So what will happen is Rubio and these other open borders people will go to Trump and they'll say, Lindsey, if he makes it, and that's not obvious that he will, but if they'll go to Trump and they'll say, you got to do amnesty, and then the Democrats won't impeach you. So then Trump will do amnesty. There won't be any impeachment. So you're going to get amnesty under Trump or Biden. That's just the reality. That's just the reality. You might get a war too, because Rubio is pivoting to he's like a populist now. So Rubio is conning people in real time, right? So Senate still has to be 2/3 of vote. So it isn't like you can remove Trump with the majority, but you need 2/3. But they'll just say we can just make this all go away, do amnesty. So they'll do amnesty, and that's that. So that's what you're looking at now. Wars, we don't know. Rubio's trying to con people in real time about being a populist. Remember Rubio did that dumb video where he stood up for Antifa? It's the far right causing agitation. We now have open riots. Does Rubio apologize for that? And do you people ever make them apologize? Because I feel very much like I'm just abused all the time by Trump people, and which also, by the way, doesn't make me want to help. And I'm like, why aren't you yelling at Rubio? Why aren't you yelling at Mike Lee? Oh, because you're just brainwashed freaks, right? Because you're just idiots, really. So you yell at people like me, but not Rubio, who stood up for Antifa and blamed, I don't mean the people commenting, I just mean royally. Right? So why don't you yell at Rubio for standing up for Antifa? So that's the future of the GOP. Antifa, Mark Rubio, John McCain, Dan Crenshaw. So why would I do anything to help further that? If Trump loses, that's good for me. My phone might die any minute now, even though it's plugged in. So if my phone plugs in, no, but it's just my phone battery's depleted, even though we're plugged in. So yeah, give me the other wire. I'll try the other wire. But anyway, big picture, if Trump loses in 2020, that's better for me because then that will purge the Rubios of the party. That'll remove them from any kind of real influence. And then in 2024, we can do something interesting. So again, that's where it comes. I'm like China. How long did it take China to build the Great Wall of China? Right? How long did it take China to build the Great Wall? So I don't look at things in terms of this election. I look at things in terms of my lifetime, the lifetime of my country, and the lifetime of my immortal soul. That's the difference. Is if you think of things in terms of your lifetime, your country's lifetime, and your immortal soul's lifetime, you're like, okay, so Trump loses 2020, it'll split two ways. What'll happen is Rubio, and then we'll say, see, we should be like more like Mitt Romney. But the populist wave under Tucker Carlson is much stronger than that. And then the populists are going to be like, no, you people are losers, and you lost already. Trump lost because he wasn't who he said he was, right? Trump didn't lose for who he was, right? Trump didn't lose because of who he said he was. Trump is losing because he isn't who he said he was in 2016, right? Law and order. It took enough time to get the feds, but now that we have the feds out, right? What has happened? Remember when people tried to argue with me? And I said, it's time to send out the feds. And people were like, no, you can't send out the feds. The visuals will be bad. Where's my apology? Where's my apology from all these people who are just wrong? What? To the Rasputin of American politics. Where's that apology? Because remember when everybody was like, if Trump sends out the feds, it's going to be a disaster for him. And I said, no, it's actually going to help Trump. What's Pelosi, Joe Scarborough, everybody that the mainstream media talked about this past weekend? They are so mad at Trump. So now they're blaming the riots on Trump. Oh, Trump agitated it. They're mad. They're mad because Trump finally, after listening to me and not Javanka, Trump now forced the Antifa people to show their hand. So now the media can't ignore it. The media, they're so shook now, they have to lie and say, protester was shot in Austin. Or you're like, oh, he was carrying an AK, was on video saying that people were too afraid to confront him because they were PUSSIESs. And according to the video, it looks like he shot the car first. So the media is so twisted now because Antifa is doing what I said they would. They would show their asses. Remember I said that? This was in May. I said, bring out the feds and make Antifa and the Democrats show their asses. And they're showing who they are. This is not hyperbole. I've said this for years. And I've said this about incels too. What did I say? I said 2016-ish, maybe 2015. Incels and Antifa, the greatest threat to American stability, right? So I know that Antifa is a terrorist group. I don't use this as a glib thing. Oh, that's a terrorist. They are a terrorist organization. You had to let them show their asses. And now they've shown their asses. The media is freaking out because they weren't supposed to know. They were not supposed to know. You weren't supposed to know any of this. So now Pelosi, Scarborough, the media is all freaking out, which proves that I was right and Javanka and the Trump campaign was wrong. Right? The freak out from the Democrats isn't happening because these visuals are helping Democrats. These visuals are a disaster for Democrats. Antifa's showing their asses. They're going out there shooting people. They're attacking people. They're jumping on cars. They're bombing federal agents. Eventually a federal agent is going to be killed. What do you think is going to happen then? I've told my media people I pray for them. I pray for them when a federal agent is killed. It's not when. It's not if. I've told many reporters I'm praying for you because when Antifa does finally succeed, because they are trying, they've just failed. When Antifa succeeds and they kill a federal agent, I pray for you for that whirlwind that's going to come. I pray for you because people are on record supporting Antifa. I pray for you all when a federal agent is finally Antifa succeeds and they're able. Remember there was that ICE shooting? The guy's called the hero. The media covered it up so much I forget the guy's name. That guy, he armed with a weapon, was planning on blowing up an ICE facility, and then he was shot dead by law enforcement. That would have been a massive domestic terrorist attack like we haven't seen. Right? So Antifa wants to kill federal agents. They're just not being able to succeed yet. Right? They just haven't succeeded yet. And what you do by sending with federal agents is you restore law and order. And then Antifa, they do want to kill people. So I pray for those people. You're going to have a lot of people deleting tweets when that happens, because it's going to happen. When Antifa succeeds and they do accomplish their goal of killing a federal agent, which they've tried many times, you're gonna hear that'll be called the night of the great Twitter deletion. You're gonna have so many reporters, everyone from Jake Tapper to Media Matters to the Daily East Infection, deleting tweets like you've never seen. Oh, we never said they were good guys. We have receipts, like Zach Henry says. We have all the receipts, so it's too late to do that. And the receipts have already been shared with federal law enforcement too. So SPLC supports Antifa. It's going to be a reckoning. And I pray for people to see the light before it's too late, right? But that helped. But again, we're digressing a little bit. That helps Trump, because that shows the public right now who Antifa really is. That shows the public in an immediate way, this is a terrorist group. They want to kill American people. They want to put your children in gulags. Right? That woman was shot for saying all lives matter, murdered. What's her name? Forgotten. Former police chief in St. Louis area, Chris Dodd, right? Shot, killed, forgotten. So that also shows, though, where's the Trump's wall of heroes, or the wall of, how there's a monument to victims of communism? Where is David Dorn? Yeah, I don't know why I said Chris Dodd. Oh, because we're investigating him for something else. Chris Dodd, he's on my mind. Let's just put it that way. Yeah, David Dorn, who I met, but in my mind, there's a lot of stuff on Chris Dodd that is going to be coming out. More on that later. But where's the messaging on the victims of Antifa? Right? Where is that? Where is that? Lost. What are they doing? Spamming people, doing a money grab, stealing money from elderly people's elder abuse. So what would you do? Right? Riots, gun judges. If I'm running, but I could do this authentically. Right? Riots, guns, judges. Riots, guns, judges. That's the pathway to victory. Because the economy's tanked, and the GOP trying to mess around and not give people that extra $600, that's just so dumb. So there's only so much you can do. You can't run on the economy. You got 100 days or 99 days, I guess. You can't run on the economy. That's over. To do nothing, Dems, blah blah blah. Right? You can't run on the economy. You can run on riots, guns, judges. Now, with riots, the conventional wisdom, and this is what the Trump campaign is telling people, conventional wisdom is that the incumbent is blamed for riots. This is an exception because the public has heard the media give propaganda for Antifa for 4 years. They've seen Democrats deny that Antifa exists. So this is the one exception where riots help the incumbent. So I know what Trump's being told. Trump is being told by Javanka et al. That incumbents are always blamed for chaos. This is true. As a rule, rules have exceptions. This is the exception. The riot started with Disrupt J20. Do people have any source of history? The day that Trump got inaugurated, and I held with some friends of mine the biggest inauguration event in D.C., the deplorable, the riot started then. So you can't blame the incumbent, in this case Trump, for riots funded by the DNC. So that's the exception. So you run on the riots. You run on, this is what you're going to get, riots in your town. Oh, how do you get the woman vote? Women are going to be afraid of not being able to walk their children, which is what's true now. You can't walk through New York now if you're a woman. Welcome to whatever the left wanted, they're getting. Right? Women can't walk around parts of New York. And the ones that say they can, put on a GoPro. Because you always see Democrats say, oh, Cernovich is fear-mongering. I can walk around here. Go put on a GoPro then. Go on after 7 o'clock. Go walk. Go walk 50 blocks, right? Go walk 50 blocks and show everything. They won't do that. They'll just say, oh, it's not true. So riots, one. Guns, if you bought a gun, the Democrats want to take it. That simple. Real simple. Nonstop. If you own a gun, Democrats want to take it. You run the footage of Beto. Hell yeah, we're taking your AR-15. There's just so much footage that they've given you. Riots, guns, judges. Evangelicals, I think they're going to stay home. And I don't think Trump's ready for that. I think they're going to stay home. I think they're demoralized. They're embarrassed with Trump. They were embarrassed at him in 2016. They voted for him only because of judge. I'm embarrassed by Trump. So they only voted for Trump in 2016 because of judges and Supreme Court justices. They've always been embarrassed by him. They're even more embarrassed by him now. So the evangelical vote is not what it was going to be in 2016 even. So you just got to run hard on judges. Look at John Roberts. John Roberts is a liberal activist who doesn't follow the Constitution, and he was a Republican appointee. So imagine what Biden's judges are going to look like, right? And the same thing is true with the Senate because Republicans might not even be in control to pick. So it's going to be, it's going to be messy. Now, there could be Roe versus Wade overturned. Never in my lifetime. I remember this was a humbling moment. 20 years ago, people were like, Roe v. Wade might be overturned. And I said, not a chance. Never in my lifetime will Roe versus Wade ever be overturned. And not only will it not be overturned, but just it's not even a chance. We're one accident from Ruth Bader Ginsburg being replaced, right? It's a little down to the wire now. She pulled it off, but we're one fall down the steps in her house, and you're one vote away from at least carving away Roe versus Wade, which is pretty wild to think about. If the Senate kept the GOP, or if the GOP keeps the Senate, and Trump wins the narrow election, he'll get one justice, one liberal justice. He'll get one. He might get two. Right? And that's unbelievable. But that should just be the messaging. That should just be the messaging. Yeah, it was unthinkable 10 years ago. That should be the messaging, just nonstop to evangelicals, judges. Don't even talk about anything else. Judges. We're going to overturn. Just say we're going to overturn it. Trump lost a moderate vote anyway. That's the whole thing is Trump lost the awful vote, the affluent white female liberal vote. He lost that anyway. Just lean into it and go hard. Because, as the Spartans would say, right? Return home either with your shield or on it, right? With your shield or on it is the way. This is the real war. If you want to look at what real wartime mindset is, a real wartime president, a real wartime campaign is, with your shield or on it. You go all in. All in. You just say, here's what we're going on. We're going all in on riots, guns, judges. Yes, I'm going to overturn Roe versus Wade. You might die. You might lose it. You might lose. But you're going off on your shield. You're not running away like a coward. You're not running away like some kind of milquetoast. Mitt Romney, I don't know what I believe. I don't have any principles. Mitt Romney said he supported Roe versus Wade, right? When he ran for Massachusetts Senate. So Mitt Romney supported Roe versus Wade before he conned y'all in Utah to vote for him because now he's, opposes it. So you really want to talk about what a wartime president is? You're going back November 4th. You're either on your shield or you're with it. You're either dead and you lost, but you leave with honor. You just leave with honor. And you know that you gave it your all. You stood the line. You took the blows. You gave the blows. And there's never any shame in that, right? There's just no shame in an honorable loss where you went all in. Okay, they got me. That's just the way it is. There's honor in that. Right now, they're throwing their shields down and running around. I don't know. We can't offend these. We can't offend that vote. We can't offend that vote. We can't defend that vote. Oh no, they're playing defense now. They're just afraid to offend all these groups, but they're not picking up votes. So you just lean in hard. You hold the line. Yep, I'm going to overturn Roe versus Wade. Say that in a debate, right? Say that in a debate. Oh, but the country overwhelmingly, you have no idea what the country will. That'll turn out your votes in a way that you've never seen before. You just lean in and people go, because I know what the campaign would say if they saw a terrible idea, show Cernovich doesn't know anything. By the way, these are all grifters who said Trump was going to lose when I knew he was going to win. And now I'm saying he's going to lose when all the grifters like he's going to win. Where were you in 2015, 2016? I'm glad you're getting paid to believe in his campaign, right? But something else. Yeah, and then Kanye with the write-in votes, support that. There should be a super PAC. Get out the vote for Kanye. Funded by who? Trump people. So if you're putting money around, you would be a Trump donor, and you would do a super PAC for get out the vote for Kanye, and you put $10 million behind that. Because the election margin is so narrow that you just do nothing but a get out the vote drive for Kanye. $10 million. And all you do is register Kanye voters, get messaging out on Kanye, treat Kanye like he's a real candidate. Because he's in the race, right? So you can do that all, consult your lawyer if you want to do it, obviously. So not legal advice, but Kanye's in the race. You could do a super PAC and just make Democrats be like, do I vote for Biden or do I vote for Kanye? Because we're talking a game of inches. This election is a game of inches. This election is a game of a few hundred votes in this county, a few hundred votes in that county, a few thousand votes in this state, 10,000 votes here or there. This is not about 63 million votes versus 65 million votes. This is not a vote of an election on millions. This is an election of hundreds in a few counties, thousands in a few states. So I would not be spending any money on a Trump super PAC. It would be 10 million, Kanye, get his people registered to vote Kanye for president. Those are only going to take away votes from Biden. They're not one person's going to be like, well, I was going to vote for Trump. Now I'm going to vote for Kanye. You just crash for Kanye. So this isn't voter suppression, by the way. This is voter to another candidate. So we want people out to vote, right? But you want them voting. If you're Trump people, you want them voting for Kanye. So I would have a whole project, right? And by the way, where's that Trump super PAC with millions of dollars in a Kanye super PAC? Nothing but Kanye videos. Vote Kanye. Democrats said you ain't black. You got, there's not a lot of, you're not going to win conservative black voters by saying that Joe Biden supported putting crack dealers into prison. Hate to break it to you. You can go back to the media coverage of the 94 crime bill. That was supported overwhelmingly by the black community, which viewed crime as a top issue of concern to them, supported by the Congressional Black Caucus, supported by the mayors of black majority cities. So you're not going to peel off one black conservative vote because black conservatives are what? They're law and order. That's the whole thing. Quit seeing race so much. But you could peel off some liberal votes for Kanye from Biden by just reminding people Biden says you ain't black. Vote Kanye. Right? Real simple shit. Yeah, the Lincoln Project, but for Kanye. Joe Biden says you ain't black. Here's Joe Biden saying the N-word. Joe Biden's said the N-word more on audio than I have, right? And I was a provocateur at the time. So never a hard R, I don't think, always an A. But anyway, just nothing but media saturation of Biden dropping N-bombs, Biden saying you ain't black. You could do a shirt, orange shirt. I'm black, Kanye. Right? I'm black, Kanye, orange shirt, black font. How powerful is that? Right? How powerful is that? You want to talk about Blexit. People aren't going to Blexit from Democrats to Republicans. They'll Blexit from Biden to Kanye, though. I'm black. Vote Kanye. Boom. Orange shirts, black, cool logo. Ship out 100,000 of those shirts. Get them handed out at every music festival, every concert. And don't even say you're pro-Trump because you're not pro-Trump. You're just saying, I'm black. Vote Kanye. Boom. See, we just, as we talk, I can just share this kind of. That's why people. Why don't you stream that much anymore, Cernovich? Why don't you stream that much? Because because I like to talk to you all about it for sure. I enjoy. This is just us talking, but I don't want to accidentally give free advice to the Trump campaign because that would debase me to give them free advice. That would be me casting pearls before swine, which Jesus himself has said not to do. Right? They said, why would you cast pearls before swine? So that would just, it's not Christian. It's not Christian to help the Trump campaign at this point because it's pearls before swine. So I don't want to just give them advice. But, as we rap and we talk and everything, you just see that the simple ingenuity of, I'm black, vote Kanye, boom, hand out those shirts. Could you imagine the fire of that? Think about that. So that, $10 million super PAC, register people to vote, get those shirts out. And it could look cool too. I mean, that would just actually look cool. That's just a cool shirt to wear. And then what? I don't know, but it's a close election. Again, we're talking hundreds of votes here and there in a few counties, thousands of votes here and there in a few states. That's how you have to think. Margins. Marginals. All right, my friend. I'm going to go. Thanks for watching. Mike Cernovich, Cernovich.com. 100 days, the world changes forever. But whatever happens, remember, the election is in 2020. Your life will go beyond 2020. Your soul is immortal. Focus less about how you're freaking out about the election if you're a pro-Trump person. Focus on the karma that you're creating. Focus on if you're going to church. Focusing on your relationship with God. Focus on your eternal soul. Because whatever happens in 2020, we're all stuck with it, regardless. And our souls and our actions here are going to be held to account. Think about that more. Love you.